Welcome to the Stairway to Heaven. We're coming to you on X-Zone TV and Simul TV from our broadcast studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, with the latest updates on the increasing frequencies impacting us all. Stairway to Heaven is the source of vital information for the evolving human being. I'm Golda Wiyaka. Walk-ins, old body, new spirit? Many are familiar with the concept of walk-in spirits. For those of us who are not, a walk-in is purportedly a disembodied spirit willing to take over a person's body when that person is ready to give up and throw in the towel on their life. Unlike possessing spirits that are believed to take a person over against their will, a walk-in will take over only when the original spirit of the person is ready to vacate. The presumed purpose of this exchange is to allow a benevolent spirit to enter this reality in order to accomplish a mission, aid spiritual evolution, or some such worthy altruistic task. While this may be somewhat true, there is much more to the story. To examine the concept of walk-ins in more depth, we need to revisit the ambient frequency of the planet. We go much deeper into the current frequency shifts and their causes in Stairway to Heaven episode 39, Everything is Energy, What Happens When the Frequency Changes. You can find it and all prior episodes with our compliments at www.stairwaytoheavenmedia.com. Suffice it to say, frequency is not a static thing. As the ages change, charted by our relative positioning in the galaxy, frequency devolves and evolves in a cyclic pattern. Some ages are characterized by lower frequencies and others by higher ones. Often, people equate high frequency to being good, while low frequency is bad. This is not the case. Frequency is neither good or bad. It simply is. Every frequency supports a different reality. There are valuable experiences and lessons to be had in both the upper range and the lower ones. At the extreme ends of the scale, whether high or low, frequency can be equally damaging to the human body. As an example, radiation is very high frequency. That does not mean being at ground zero during the Chernobyl meltdown would be a good thing. Before becoming physical, we reside in Source, a very expansive and unified frequency. When we incarnate, we're subject to the frequency ceiling present on the planet at the time our spirit enters the physical body. This ceiling is dictated by the frequencies of the Earth's current location in the cosmos. Incarnating into a physical body necessitates disconnection from frequencies either higher or lower than that of the planet. The rest of our frequency expression, higher and lower, remains present outside of the body, extending to the unified field and beyond, but we do not have direct contact with it. This expansive frequency existing outside of our body becomes what many call our higher self. It's no wonder the trauma of separation from Source, and much of our expression, results in amnesia. Most of us don't remember being born or who and what we were before this lifetime. Once born, the frequency compromises don't end there. Through the bumps and bruises inherent in living in this world, we continue to disconnect from our natural expression. As an example, when turning 2 years of age, it's natural to start seeing ourselves as separate and setting boundaries. This stage is called the terrible twos. Asserting ourselves and screaming no to our parents is often met with negative results. Soon, we learn that being okay, as far as our providers are concerned, means not firmly setting boundaries. We therefore disconnect from the frequency bandwidth representing strong boundaries and develop a more subtle tactic to get our needs met. This adaptation is very energy expensive, resulting in less frequency available, adding to the frequency loss caused by disconnecting from our right to set boundaries. This is just one example of frequency loss we suffer throughout our lifetimes. Eventually, we become more defense mechanisms and operating systems than our original frequency design. Furthermore, we identify with our defenses, thinking they're who we are, separating us further from our original spirit frequency and our connection to our higher selves. Ironically, these patterns and defenses become a form of a possessing spirit. Given that these defenses are earthbound and prevent our connection to higher self and therefore the unified field, this is an epic loss. We're left feeling incomplete and dissatisfied, always searching for something without knowing what it is. So, where do walk-ins fit in? While some walk-ins may be totally different spirits, most of them consist of reuniting with the more expansive aspects of our original soul. Rather than throwing in the towel on our current lives, we are releasing the incompatible frequencies of defense mechanisms, judgments, and identities that do not resonate with our true design. As a result, more of our true design, aka higher self, is allowed to enter. The ambient frequency on the planet continues to rise as a result of moving further into the Aquarian age. This raises the frequency ceiling on the planet, providing access to increased bandwidths of our higher self. However, there's one little problem: the additional frequency compromises we have experienced during our lifetimes. These losses separate us from our higher selves, rendering us unable to resonate with the more expansive frequencies. Without resonance, there can be no connection. As discussed in prior episodes, to evolve we must heal our damage and reclaim the original bandwidth of frequencies with which we incarnated. The frequency loss I've described here has been recognized and treated throughout the ages by shamans of all indigenous peoples. It's known as a spiritual illness of soul loss and is treated by a technique called soul retrieval. There's more about shamanic healing in Stairway to Heaven, number 47, What is Shamanism and How Can It Help Us Now? By setting our intention to evolve and addressing our damage, we put ourselves in a position to receive more of our true expression, aka walk-ins. The experience of having a walk-in varies greatly from person to person. It also differs from time to time, as the evolving person often undergoes a series of walk-ins rather than just a single incident. Sometimes we may experience a dark night of the soul, whereby we have been beaten up so badly by our own patterns and the resulting circumstances and relationships that we just give up. While not pleasant to go through, this is truly an alchemical moment. We may feel we're giving up on life, but we are in fact letting go of who we are not. By letting go of old patterns, operating systems, and false identities, we release the distorted frequencies they carry, resulting in a rise of our personal frequency. This release and subsequent rise of frequency facilitates more of who we are to move in and start participating in our lives. What can also instigate walk-ins is a radical shift in perspective or point of view. Sometimes, a shattering life event or crisis of faith can knock us out of our old patterns and beliefs, breaking us apart, letting the light in, so to speak. Intensive healing, such as a series of soul retrievals, can facilitate a shedding of old patterns and taking on more of our original frequency. This enables us to take advantage of even more of our expression now available due to the rise of ambient frequency. The impact of walk-ins can vary drastically. Sometimes the change can be gradual. We may slowly find we simply have no interest in things, people, or situations of narrow frequency. We may start to access more expansive level beliefs, responses, and viewpoints. It's rather like gradually waking up into a new way of being. Other times, the change can be instantaneous and earth-shattering. We may go to bed the night before feeling all is lost, that our lives are over, only to wake up wondering whose life we find ourselves in. Things seem familiar, but not. What last night seemed to be the end of the world is no longer even a small concern. There can be a feeling of detachment from things we used to deem important or of great value. One may look around at the things in their own bedroom and wonder whose they are or why they chose them. It may even feel as though realities shift and strobe in and out. Our thoughts may seem to jump from one timeline to another. We may forget things yet remember others that were not part of our current lives. Being physical may seem unfamiliar and awkward. we may wonder who the heck we are. Because our higher self has heretofore existed in a nonlinear, more expansive reality, the change can be so extreme as to feel we're living in more than one reality at once. Functioning may become difficult, if not impossible, for a while. This drastic change is rather like removing Windows 10 before installing Windows 11. We're in the space between shutting down one operating system and engaging another. Until we get our bearings, we may have no effective way to interface with this reality. If you're going through this, hang in there. Soon the new portion of yourself will merge seamlessly with the rest. However, there will be changes. When we merge with a greater percent of our higher self, it increases access to the portion of ourselves not yet incarnate, but connected with the unified field. Our intuition will increase. Access to higher knowledge may come into play. Our creativity will expand. We'll appear and feel more intelligent. Our relationships to people and things will shift drastically. Due to the expansive nonlinear nature of our higher self, we may have precognitions as we perceive things taking form at the quantum level. People we know will start to comment on how much we've changed. Sometimes the changes are so drastic we shed most of our associates and even relationships while drawing in new ones more compatible with the frequency at which we are now operating. One may wake up with who they had thought was the love of their life, only to realize that person has been manipulating and using them, that the entire relationship has been pattern to pattern, not heart to heart. The energy to remain in the relationship is simply gone, as there never was a real relationship to begin with. But take heart. Drastic changes only take place depending on our personal intentions for our lives. An additional factor is the amount of processing we've been willing to do leading up to the change. When going through such a change, remind yourself, this is what you've been working towards. Regardless of what it looks and feels like now, your intentions will be met on the other side of the upheaval. Do bear in mind, beyond the natural push-pull whereby people and situations are drawn or repelled without you taking direct action, it's not a great time to make decisions. Best to wait until you've settled into your new configuration and had time to reevaluate your relationships and your life. Evolution of this magnitude is not without its cost, nor does it happen in one shot. We've been separated from our higher expression during darker ages, and that separation has been passed down genetically. Limiting beliefs and judgments have been handed down the lineage. We've been indoctrinated into a physically based culture and belief system. Add to that all the additional frequency compromises this lifetime, and we simply could not get there from here. There was no way to bridge the gap between the frequency we were left with and our higher selves. All those beliefs, patterns, identities, holdouts, judgments, and concepts must die at the altar of our personal evolution. This can be very alienating, as those very things are the currency of our current consumer-based reality. There will come a time that most people simply won't get us, as we are not controlled by the same patterns and beliefs as the masses. But hey, with access to our higher selves, the sky and beyond is truly the limit. Thank you for joining me, Gulda Wiyaka, on the Stairway to Heaven, where we provide updates on the energetic currents facilitating our evolution into conscious, powerful co-creators. As I'm sure you've noticed, not only do the Stairway to Heaven episodes stand alone, but they weave together to form a map to evolution and personal empowerment as we enter the new era. To revisit this or any of our past episodes, visit our archives at www.stairwaytoheavenmedia.com. If you'd like to find out more about me, my school, and the evolutionary tools we offer, visit www.findyourpathhome.com. Until next time, may you be blessed on your sacred path to wholeness. We are here. The time is now.